Hi, I'm Kina, and this is Faith in Business, Conversation with Christian Entrepreneurs. In just a few moments, I'll be talking to the Managing Director of D2M, which stands for Design to Market. His name is Phil Stanton. Thank you, Phil, for coming. How are you this morning?
Not too bad, thank you. It's a pleasure to be here.
So, Phil, could you tell us a bit more about your business?
Yeah, no problem. So D2M Innovation works with people with ideas. Sometimes they are entrepreneur startups who haven't run a business before. Sometimes they're big established companies. And we work with them to turn that idea into a real product, which often involves concept design, computer-aided design, prototyping, as you said, sourcing manufacturers, costing, bit of packaging design, applying branding to a product, all those kind of areas basically. And I've very much tried to get to a point where we can take a concept right the way through from back of an envelope sketch to landed products in the UK ready for sale.
Phil, you are a Christian, you're a believer, you're in business. In the book, when I interviewed you mentioned that you are very upfront about your faith. Can you just tell us a bit more? How does that work with your faith? How upfront are you when you say you're upfront about your faith?
I think it's important to be upfront about my faith as a Christian. I haven't gone as far as I could do with it, probably. But at the moment, if you read things like my profile on the company website, it talks about the fact I go to church. And then we have company-wide kind of prayer meetings, and they are put out in the kind of company calendar to everyone to see that that's the meeting that's kind of going on, and people are welcome to come or not if they want to. And I do end up with quite a lot of conversations with people going, okay, well, I've read on your profile, that you're a Christian. Okay, that's good, or I'm slightly worried about that, or whatever. So that does lead to those kind of conversations, basically. And I'd like to go further with it. I'm quite challenged by friends in business who have kind of Bible studies every morning as part of their kind of companies. And at the moment we're recruiting for 2 new staff, and as part of the recruitment process I'm making it very clear that I'm a Christian and the business is founded on Christian values, and that's what they're kind of coming into if they get the job and if they want to join us. So, yeah.
Tell me, what do you find rewarding, you having your faith up front in your business? What is rewarding about it, and what is challenging?
I do find that there are some good rewards from being upfront about my faith. 2 kind of recent examples. One is that someone who owns another company who's quite similar to what we do has come to us and said, well, we'd like you to kind of take over the business as we retire, because of your integrity, because of your faith and the way you've conducted yourself that we've observed over the last kind of 5-6 years. So we'd like you to kind of take our business forward, which is that's a great reward through multiple things, partly through faith, but partly through doing the right thing and being observed to do the right thing, basically. And then secondly, kind of last week, one of our distributors that we work with, who sells some of the client products that we've developed, described me as quite statesman-like, which was a bit of a reward for me, because they are not Christians in any way, but I think they've seen certain attributes in me and the way that I conduct myself, which I believe come out of what God has taught me and the person that God has changed me into. And to have that observed and recognised in someone without kind of faith is great, and that's very rewarding for me.
You talk about integrity. There's a part you talk in the book about integrity. Could you tell us something where you have seen integrity really playing a key role regarding your faith and how you do your business?
Yeah, so this comes up actually quite a lot in my business, because people come to us every week with maybe we get 7 or 8 new ideas through the door every week. And inevitably, some of those aren't great. We've seen them before, or there's commercial reasons why they're not going to be viable or whatever else. And at that point, we have to act with integrity. That's what we decided to do as a business, because of my faith and what I see God requiring of people who follow Him and follow His ways. And that means inevitably having difficult conversations with people saying, I'm really sorry, but this is just not a great idea. Or actually, have you seen these 4 products that already exist on the market that utilise the idea that you've come up with? And sometimes, as a business, we've had lean times where we've really needed new projects to come in, and it's been quite difficult, particularly if the inquiry is clearly has stated that they're willing to spend quite a lot of money on developing the project, and they're clearly quite competent and could work well with us, to have to do the right thing in that scenario, as demanded of by my faith, and say, actually, this isn't an idea that we think you should take forward, has been difficult. But that's what we do, and actually that does help. There's some long-term benefits from that, in that, as I say, this other company is now thinking about us kind of taking on their business as they retire. It's partly because they've seen us act like that and act with integrity towards the people who kind of come to us. And at other times as well, we've had people who've asked us to exaggerate or even kind of blatantly lie on invoices or things like that for grant applications. So there are various kind of grant funds to develop new ideas, but they're often based on how much the individual is spending with a company. And we get asked, probably 2 or 3 times a year to exaggerate the amount, or kind of frame it differently, or blatantly kind of support someone's kind of fraudulent applications effectively. And so again, obviously acting with integrity and say, well, no, that's not how we're prepared to operate, and we're not going to do that. But often we'll find that they say, well, okay, well, I'm going to go with another company then who is prepared to do that. And we lose the business and we lose the client as a result. But again, I'd rather do that and walk with integrity in running my business.
Fantastic. Finally, Phil, as a disciple, a follower of Christ, what would you like to say to wannabe entrepreneurs or entrepreneurs who are perhaps thinking of exploring in the Christian faith? What can you say? Is there any word of encouragement or words of wisdom? Is there anything you can say?
I think what I would say is I've very much found when I get to tricky business decisions or difficult kind of forks in the road, you're having to choose a left or a right path, that actually bringing that to God in prayer often results in an answer and a direction. And I've found very much that God wants to be involved in my business, that He speaks to me about my business either directly or through kind of prophetic words from other people, or through particular things in His Bible. And that I found it to be a huge encouragement and support, that actually when there's a really difficult decision, that I'm not actually trying to make that on my own.
You use the word prophetic, which you don't hear often. What do you mean when you say sometimes God speaks to you, or prophetic? Or could you just give an example of one time you felt like, actually, this is maybe God speaking to me? Because people would ask. So, yeah. Yeah,
so I'll give an example. That's probably easiest. So probably 4 or 5 years ago now, I went forward at the end of a Sunday service at church to receive prayer. And a guy that didn't know me, didn't know my business, prayed for me, and he had a word for me, and he said, I think God is saying He wants to give you back your business, which I didn't really fully know what that kind of meant at that time. I said, okay, well, that's great, I'll remember that. And then about 6 months later, it became apparent that I would have to split from my current business partners, where they wanted to take the business, where I wanted to take the business. We're not aligned, and we tried various things to make it work together, and it wasn't going to happen, so we were going to have to do something fairly dramatic and part company. And actually being able to rely on that word and look back on that word, that guy who didn't know me, didn't know that I owned a business, had said 6 months before about God giving me back my business, gave me the strength and the reassurance I needed to walk what was then a very difficult journey, involving solicitors and all sorts of other things, to get to a point of actually being able to buy them out and take my business forward. And God did truly give me back my business. My business partners wanted it. At one point they said, we're never going to sell you this business. But as I say, holding true to what God has said and working through that process. And here I am now, 5 years later, as the sole owner of my business. So.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Phil, and wishing you all the best in your business. Thank you for watching. Please join us next time for another interview.